Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, and I'm Sophie, and it is time for story time. Well, it's going to be Froggy Friday today. It's not foggy outside here in San Francisco, but I felt like today was a great day to share some frog stories with you because I have all these great frog stories that were given to me by my friends Rosanna and Gabriella and Lillian, who have lent me some fabulous books, and a lot of them have frogs in them. So I thought, let's have a Froggy Friday. So let's get started, shall we? Now, the first story I'm going to read to you is from Shel Silverstein's Where the Sidewalk Ends, and it is not about a frog, but it's about a close relative. It is about a turtle, which I also love. I love turtles. There's a funny song about turtles that I need to learn so that I can sing it for you. It's about turtles coming out. Okay, this is called The Bagpipe Who Didn't Say No. And I'm going to show you the picture first, just so you have an idea of what's going on here. Here's the bagpipe, right? So can you see the bagpipe? It's right there. And then this is the turtle, looking very lovingly at that bagpipe, wouldn't you say? So let's hear what the bagpipe who didn't say no has to say. It was 9 o'clock at midnight, at 3:15, when a turtle met a bagpipe on the shore side by the sea. And the turtle said, "My dearie, may I sit with you? I'm weary." And the bagpipe didn't say no. Said the turtle to the bagpipe, "I have walked this lonely shore. I have talked to waves and pebbles, but I've never loved before. Will you marry me today, dear? Is it no you're going to say, dear?" But the bagpipe didn't say no. So the turtle to his darling, "Please excuse me if I stare, but you have the plattest skin, dear, and you have the strangest hair. If I begged you, pretty please, love, could I give you just one squeeze, love?" And the bagpipe didn't say no. Said the turtle to the bagpipe, "Ah, you love me, then confess. Let me whisper in your dainty ear and hold you to my chest." And he cuddled and he teased her and he so lovingly squeezed her, and the bagpipe said, "Auga." Said the turtle to the bagpipe, "Did you hunk or bray or neigh for auga when you're kissed, dear, is such a heartless thing to say? Is it that I have offended? Is it that our love has ended?" And the bagpipe didn't say no. Said the turtle to the bagpipe, "Shall I leave you, darling wife? Shall I waddle off to Woden? Shall I crawl out of your life? Shall I move, depart, and go, dear? Oh, I beg you, tell me no, dear." But the bagpipe didn't say no. So the turtle crept off crying, and he ne'er came back no more. And he left that bagpipe lying on that smooth and sandy shore. And some night, when tide is low there, just walk up and say, "Hello there," and politely ask the bagpipe if the story's really so. I assure you, darling children, that the bagpipe won't say no. And there he is, the bagpipe, who said only one thing, "Auga." Well, let's say hello, shall we? And get our day started. Oh, hello, how are you? Oh, hello, how are you? Oh, hello, how are you? I'm just fine today. I'm glad to see you here today. I'm glad to see you here today. I'm glad to see you here today. I'm so glad to see you. Okay, what do you say? Let's hop around the room. Can we do it on one foot? I don't know. If you have 2 feet or 4 feet like a froggy and you want to hop like a froggy, you can. Or if you have 1 foot that you like best and you want to hop on that, go ahead and hop it. And if you don't want to hop, you can bounce in your seat. How's that? Here we go. Hop up and down, 1, 2, 3, and hop up and down along with me, and hop up and down, 1, 2, 3. I'm so glad to see you. Okay, so what else do froggies do? Well, they chase flies. So let's chase a fly around the room. Chase a fly around the room. So let's see, let's do one more funny thing that froggies do. Let's see, what do they do? They go ribbit, ribbit. So let's go ribbit. Ribbit, ribbit like a big old frog, and ribbit, ribbit like a big old frog, and ribbit, ribbit like a big old frog. I'm so glad to see you. Okay, so let's make some funny faces like we're frogs, which means we have to stick our tongues out a lot. Okay, you ready to help me? I'm going to stick my tongue out. Can you do it? I'm so glad to see you. Okay, let's wave hello. Here we go. Hello, how are you all? Hello, how are you all? Hello, how are you? I'm just fine today. Well, I hope you're fine today. I'm very excited because today is a beautiful, beautiful day, and I'm excited for what the day might bring. So let's get started. I have a book here that has a frog. You want to see the frog? There's the frog. Doo-doo-doo. And it said, I was so mad. And this is by Mercer Mayer. I was so mad. Look at all those frogs. See all those frogs in the bathtub? I wonder why he's mad. Do you think he's mad because all the frogs took over his bathtub? I don't know. We're going to find out. I was so mad by Mercer Mayer. I wanted to keep some frogs in the bathtub, but Mom wouldn't let me. Oh, I was so mad. I wanted to play with my sister's dollhouse, but Dad wouldn't let me. Oh, I was so mad. I wanted to play hide and seek in the clean sheets, but Grandma said, no, you can't. Oh, I was just so mad. I wanted to water the garden, but Grandpa said, no, you can't. So I decided to decorate the house, but Grandpa said, no, you can't do that either. Ugh, was I ever mad? Dad said, why don't you go play in the sandbox? I didn't want to do that. And Mom said, why don't you play on the slide? I didn't want to do that either. I was too mad. I wanted to practice my juggling show instead. But Mom said, no, you can't. I wanted to tickle the goldfish, but Mom said, leave the goldfish alone. Oh, you won't let me do anything I want to do, I said. I guess I'll run away. That's how mad I was. So I packed my wagon with my favorite toys, and I packed a bag of cookies to eat on the way. And then I walked out the front door, but my friends were going to the park to play ball. Hey, can you come too? They asked. Can I go? And Mom said, I could. I'll run away tomorrow, if I'm still mad. And that is, I was so mad. Did you ever feel that way? Sometimes I get mad. Sometimes I get so mad. But you know what's an interesting thing? I have realized that if I just let myself be mad and say, okay, Sophie, you're mad right now, and I just let myself really feel mad, that often what happens is it just leaves after a little while. If I just let myself feel the emotion of being mad. So, I don't have a mad song, but I do have a song about 5 green and speckled frogs. And if you would like to help me, you can help me sing this one. Because after the froggies jump in, they go, yum, yum. And you can help me do that. Here we go. 5 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled dog, eating the most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are, how many? 4 green speckled frogs. Very good. Ribbit, ribbit. Here we go. Now we got 4 frogs. 4 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating the most delicious bugs. Help me out. Yum, yum. Oh, one jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 3 green speckled frogs. Ribbit, ribbit. 3 green and speckled frogs. They sat on a speckled log. They were eating the most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 2 green speckled frogs. Need it. 2 green and speckled frogs. They sat on a speckled log. They were eating the most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there is 1 green speckled frog. Ribbit, ribbit. Think he's a little lonely? Let's find out. 1 green and speckled frog sat on a speckled log, eating the most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. She jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. And now there are no green speckled frogs. Ribbit, ribbit. Well, I just saw in my notes that my friends Gabriella and Lillian and Rosanna are making cookies. So maybe those frogs would rather have chocolate chip cookies. What do you think? Well, speaking of frog and toads, I have a new story for you. This is called A Lost Button, and it is from A Frog and Toads Are Friends by Arnold Lobel. I love Frog and Toad. These guys are my favorites. They are my favorites. I love my frog and my toad. I love my frog and my toad. Okay, this is called A Lost Button. Now, I have been told that I say button kind of funny. So if you think I say button kind of funny, every time you hear me say button, you can giggle. All right, A Lost Button. What do you think, Sparky? Do I say button funny? Might take a while to hear from Sparky. Sparky's rather slow. A Lost Button. Toad and Frog went for a long walk. They walked across a large meadow, and they walked in the woods, and they walked along the river. At last, they went back home to Toad's house. "Oh, drat," said Toad. "Not only do my feet hurt, but I've lost one of the buttons on my jacket." Uh-oh. "Don't worry," said Frog. "We'll go back to all the places where we walked, and we will soon find your button." They walked back to the large meadow, and they began to look for the button in the tall grass. There's Toad looking in the tall grass. "Here's your button," cried Frog. "That is not my button," said Toad. "That button is black. My button was white." Toad put the black button in his pocket. A sparrow flew down. "Excuse me," said the sparrow. "Did you lose a button? I found one." "That is not my button," said Toad. "That button has 2 holes. My button had 4 holes." Toad put the button with the 2 holes in his pocket. It was nice of the sparrow to bring that down, though, wasn't it? They went back to the woods, and they looked in the dark paths. "Here's your button," said Frog. "That is not my button," cried Toad. "That button is small. My button was big." Toad put the small button in his pocket. A raccoon came out from behind a tree. "I heard you were looking for a button," he said. "Here's the one that I just found." "That is not my button," wailed Toad. "That button is square. My button is round." Toad put the square button in his pocket. Everyone's trying to be very helpful. Frog and Toad went back to the river and they looked for the button in the mud. "Here is your button," said Frog. "That is not my button," shouted Toad. "That button is thin. My button was thick." That's a lot of buttons they're finding. Toad, who knew there were that many buttons around? Toad put the thin button in his pocket. He was very angry. He jumped up and down and he screamed, "The whole world is covered with buttons and not one of them is mine!" Toad ran home and slammed the door. There, on the floor, he saw his white, four-holed, big, round, thick button. "Oh," said Toad, "it was here all the time. Oh, what a lot of trouble I made for Frog." Toad took all the buttons out of his pocket, and he took out his sewing box, down from the shelf. Toad sewed the buttons all over his jacket, and the next day Toad gave his jacket to Frog. Frog thought that it was beautiful. He put it on and he jumped for joy. None of the buttons fell off. Toad had sewed them on very well. So let's see here first. Here he is looking at all the buttons. And there he is sewing the buttons. And there is Frog very happily wearing a jacket that has lots and lots of buttons all over it. And that is the story of A Lost Button. And that is from Frog and Toad Are Friends by Arnold Lobel. There they are. Aren't they cute? I like those guys. They have so many adventures. I just love it. Did you notice how Toad has a tendency to get a little angry every now and then, but he works through it, doesn't it? And sometimes you just have to let that happen. Okay, I need your help with this song. This is very, very important because this is a song about a frog, and frogs have very long tongues. That's right. So every time that the froggy talks, he goes like this. Bum, bum. Can you do that with me? Let's try it together. Bum, bum. Very good. Okay, let's give it a try. It goes in the song like this. Old Froggy went a-courting and he did ride blum, blum. Froggy went a-courting and he did ride blum, blum. Froggy went a-courting and he did ride with all of his best friends by his side, blum, blum, blum. When he rode up to Miss Mousie's house, blum, blum. Rode up to Miss Mousie's house, blum, blum. Rode up to Miss Mousie's house and he said, "Miss Mousie, be my spouse, blum, blum, blum." Now, we're going to get to be Miss Mousie now, you and I. So we're going to use a little voice, no tongue this time. Here we go. You must ask my Uncle Rat, You must ask my Uncle Rat, You must ask my Uncle Rat. He is big and furry and fat, Okay, now we get to be that frog again. So let's get our tongues ready. Uncle Rat, what do you say, blum, blum? Uncle Rat, what do you say, blum, blum? Uncle Rat, what do you say? Uncle Rat said, A-OK. Well, what will the wedding supper be, blum, blum? What will the wedding supper be, blum, blum? What will the wedding supper be? Flies on a plate and blackberry tea. Does that sound good to you? Flies? Blackberry tea? I think I'd rather have Gabriella and Lillian and Rosanna's chocolate chip cookies. What do you think? Froggy went a-courting and he did bum, bum. Froggy went a-courting and he did ride bum, bum. Froggy went a-courting and he did ride with all of his best friends by his side. Bum, 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 boom, boom. I don't know if Rosanna and Lillian and Gabriella have enough cookies to share, but I certainly hope that we get one, huh, Sparky? Well, I have one more good story for you here, and this is called Fish is Fish, and this is by Leo Lionni, who you know I love. Leo Lionni is such a good writer, and I love his pictures. So this is called Fish is Fish by Leo Lionni. See something interesting going on there? Do you see what that fish is thinking? That fish is thinking about having wings. And I wonder why. We shall find out, shall we? Fish is Fish. Fish is Fish by Leo Lionni. I love these authors like Mercer Mayer and Leo Lionni who draw their own pictures to go with their own stories. I always think that that's fun. At the edge of the woods, there was a pond, and there a minnow and a tadpole swam among the weeds. They were inseparable friends. Inseparable is a big word, and it means they never were apart. One morning, the tadpole discovered that during the night, he had grown 2 little legs. "Look," he said triumphantly, "look, I am a frog." "Nonsense," said the minnow. "How could you be a frog if only late last night you were a little fish like me?" They argued and argued until finally the tadpole said, "Frogs are frogs and fish is fish, and that is that." Sometimes you can disagree with your friends. In the weeks that followed, the tadpole grew tiny front legs, and his tail got smaller and smaller. It's kind of a magical transformation, don't you think? And then, one fine day, a real frog now, he climbed out of the water and on to the grassy bank. There he goes. That's the amazing thing about frogs. The minnow, too, had grown and had become a full-fledged fish. He often wondered about his 4-footed friend and where he had gone, but days and weeks went by, and the frog did not return. That must be very sad for the fish, don't you think? He must be very lonely. But then one day, with a happy splash that shook the weeds, the frog jumped into the pond. "Oh, where have you been?" asked the fish excitedly. "Oh, I've been around the world, hopping here and there," said the frog, "and I have seen extraordinary things." Extraordinary is another big word, and that means amazing and wonderful. "Oh, like what?" asked the fish. "Oh, birds," said the frog mysteriously. "Birds." And he told the fish all about birds who had wings and 2 legs and many, many colors. And as the frog talked, his friend saw the birds flying through his mind like large feathered fish. "Oh, what else?" asked the fish impatiently. Look at those birds that he's imagining. Aren't they beautiful? Interesting, but beautiful. "Cows," said the frog. "Cows. They have 4 legs, horns, eat grass, and carry pink bags of milk." Look at that funny cow. It has a very magnificent tail. "And people," said the frog. "Men, women, children." And they talked and he talked until it was dark in the pond. But the picture in the fish's mind was full of lights and colors and marvelous things that he couldn't sleep. If he could only jump about like his friend and see the wonderful world. Oh, wow. Look at this wonderful world he's dreaming about. All types of people and birds, cows. And so the days went by. The frog had gone, and the fish just lay there dreaming about birds and flight and grazing cows and those strange animals all dressed up that his friend called people. One day he finally decided that come what may, he too must see them. And so, with a mighty whack of his tail, he jumped clear out of the water onto the bank. And he landed on the dry, warm grass, and there he lay, gasping for air, unable to breathe or to move. Help! He groaned feebly. Oh dear, this is a problem for fish, because fish cannot live out of water. Luckily, the frog, who had been hunting butterflies nearby, saw him and with all his strength pushed him back into the pond. Lucky for fish, Frog was around, huh? That's what good friends are for. Still stunned, the fish floated about for an instant, and then he breathed in deeply, letting the clean, cool water run through his gills. And now he felt weightless again, and with an ever so slight motion of his tail, he could move to and fro, up and down, just as before. The sunrise reached down within the weeds and gently shifted patches of luminous color. The world was surely the most beautiful of all worlds. He smiled at his friend the frog, who sat watching him from a lily pad. "You were right," he said. "Fish is fish." That was a hard lesson to learn for the fish, wasn't it? That his world is beautiful, and it's the world where he belonged. But it's hard sometimes when you hear stories about other places and other lives that people have. But we always have to remember that our life is very, very important, even if other people's sounds more exciting. Fish is fish. There's the fish, and there's the fish. Fish is fish, by Leo Lionni. Leo Lionni has so many amazing books that teach us so many amazing things. Well, it is time for me and Sparky to go. And we'll be back on Monday, won't we, Sparky? Sparky says yes. We'll be back on Monday, and I'll have more stories and songs for you. But for right now, it's time to say goodbye, and I hope everybody will have a very, very happy and safe 4th of July. 4th of July is one of my favorite times because you get fireworks. I don't know if we're going to get fireworks this year. I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I love fireworks. Let's say goodbye. Goodbye, Lily. Goodbye, Ollie. Goodbye, Shelby. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, Delilah. Goodbye, JC. Goodbye, Eli. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, Maya. Goodbye, Charlotte. Goodbye, Isabella. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, Lillian. Goodbye, Gabriella. Goodbye, Madeline. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, Helen. Goodbye, Danny. Goodbye, Eli. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, Shelby. Goodbye, Max. Goodbye, Sparky. I think Sparky thought I was going to forget him. I'll see you all next time. Well, everybody, you have a great 4th of July. I'll see you on Monday. Let's give ourselves big high fives. Woo! And one for you. And I'm going to give you all a big hug if you would like one. So take one hand, put it on a shoulder. Take your other hand, put it on the other shoulder. And ready, close your eyes and squeeze really, 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 really tight. Oh, that was a good weekend hug from me to you. And Sparky's going to come on over. Oh, come on over, Sparky. And we're going to wave goodbye. I'll see you guys all next week. Bye, everybody.